So maybe you have seen this playful debate going on about inclusive and exclusive definitions in math. And maybe there's a few shirts in the room today. I'm going to make a case for why we need inclusive definitions of mathematics. When I was growing up, for me, math was just the arithmetic I did at school. It was evens in class, odds for homework, and repeat. I had a narrow definition of mathematics, and this meant that I was disconnected and disengaged. And I know this attitude impacted my learning. Adding it up defines a productive disposition in math as the tendency to see mathematics as worthwhile and oneself as capable. And notice how it's intertwined with the other strands of math proficiency. I teach pre-service teachers, and they come in with a wide range of opinions about math, positive, negative, and neutral. And I have felt all of these ways about math at some point. And if you've only been in the positive, I want you to listen while I share a story about Justin. Justin came in on day one and let me know that he was not interested in math. He was there because he had to be, and he was nervous about doing problems with others. And so I invited the class one day to bring in their favorite games, and we looked for the math in that. Justin brought juggling, and so as he was juggling, I said, "What's going on in your head?" And he said, "I'm visualizing 3 columns, and I'm keeping each ball in its lane, and I'm keeping all the balls close to my body, and I have a beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he came in the next week and he said, "You know, I was walking the other day and I realized I was walking to the beat that I juggled. Oh, and as I was falling asleep the other night, I was thinking about that pattern in the multiplication table. And I think I have a rule to explain why it works every time." So prior to this, Justin had had negative experiences with math at school, which caused him to decide that math wasn't worthwhile, to avoid and disengage, to miss out on learning and have more negative experiences. A familiar and vicious cycle. But by expanding Justin's idea of what was included as a math experience, he had space to decide that maybe math is worthwhile, and maybe he was capable. And he's engaging and participating in the class, learning more math, and having more positive experiences each week. So Justin's 28, and he just realized that he uses math for his own purposes. And I was 23 when I learned math was creative. But what if he was 6 or 16 when this happened? How would his story have been different? So what does this look like? Should we all rewrite word problems so that they are about juggling? I think the middle school teachers know why this is a problematic context. And even if it wasn't problematic, this is a superficial way to engage Justin. Do I need to know all of the complicated math behind juggling? Do I need to know the math then for all the activities that each of my students are into? I say no. Because after this experience, Justin was the one who Googled the math and juggling. And I was barely following along as he was talking to me about the notation they use for patterns. And he's also a skateboarder. He started talking to me about the number of pushes it takes and the angle he needs to come at if he wants to grind. And I don't even know if I said that right. So instead, I think that we just need to be curious about the math and the activities that our students do, and make space for them and trust that they are doing worthwhile mathematics outside of school. I have a university colleague who told me she always knew she was a math person because her family played games at home. And I thought I played games too. I was using strategy and logic and seeking patterns, and no one told me that I was thinking mathematically. So another definition of disposition is the way we arrange things in relation to each other. And so ask yourself, where do you position school? Is it atop of all the math that families and communities do? Because every community, every family, every person of every age is engaging in worthwhile math for their own purposes. And I love the idea that math is a verb. Maybe we've been thinking wrong about this all along. I do pop-up play at community events, and oftentimes grown-ups will come over reluctantly, sit down, and let me know they're not a math person. But as I ask them what they do, they usually say, "I play piano," or "I like to do art." And as Justin would describe, once you start to uncover all the mathematics that's in those activities that you do, He said, once I saw the math that was hidden in juggling, I thought maybe I was immersed in math, and I just hadn't noticed it. So what's your definition of math, or your students? And how is that allowing people in or leaving them out? Before we ask students to engage with math for our purposes at school, we need to honor the ways in which they are doing math for their own purposes.